Propstream and batch leads are the best list pulling service. Skip tracing, SMS, all that stuff. Deal Machine's the best for drawing for dollar. Like, Zach, why don't you do this software, this software, this software? Well, this software costs nothing. This software costs something. Let me tell you guys straight up. The only reason why I tell you use Propstream, the only reason why I come out here and tell you to use batch leads or Deal Machine is because they spend millions of dollars every single year and almost monthly on getting the best data possible. They pull it from multiple sources. They make the estimated value the best they can. They do the comp tools. They make the best skip tracing. They do everything the best way. You cannot, do not cheap out when pulling a list. If I've said this a million times, say it, every type of free software you're going to get for list pulling anything is trash data. And I can be completely straight up with you. I've tried every free software when it comes to pulling a list. I've tried them all. Unless you are manually pulling the list yourself, government list, it is going to be a trash data source. Guys, I have personally seen Propstream and batch leads and Deal Machine pour millions of dollars into going outside of the carriers that they're using to get data from on top of their own things to get the best. I know for skip tracing, for batch, I think they use 4 different sources. Guys, there's a reason why you're going to get a free data software. It's trash data. Basura. Trash. I've tried every single one. And before I get all these comments saying, oh, have you tried this one? I've tried them all. If they came out this week, if they came out last week, I've tried them all. They came out today. I've tried them. I get all the DMs. I'm in the know of the entire wholesaling community. Trash. Trash. Okay. When I'm dropping $5,000 on direct mail, am I going to cheap out on pulling the list for a free service? Guys, if it's trash data, that $100 I'm saving a month, guess what? I'm going to lose out on tens of thousands of dollars of deals because it's trash data. Trash. All right. There's a reason why Propstream and batch leads cost money to have, because they pull it from multiple sources. They have to go pay millions of dollars just to get the software and data. Okay. And someone's going to be all upset at me and cry and say, oh, but mine's the best. It's the best data ever. You got to believe me. Bro, I've tried every single software. I'll drop $4,000 on an SMS text blasting and I try every list and I pull it and I've tested out. Even this week, I've tried cold calling lists. I've pulled probate lists from multiple software services. Even yesterday, even the day before that, even today. And I've pulled them both. So for example, I will literally go to the government. So I actually did this today. Everybody asked me, oh, try this software. Guess what I did? I pulled all the pre-foreclosures on Propstream. I pulled all the pre-foreclosures from batch leads. I pulled all the pre-foreclosures from like Investor Fuse. I've tried them all from this other one. Like I've tried every software. I even did this morning at like 7 a.m. All right. I got no sleep last night, but I just woke up early and I just decided to do it because I'm sick of all these people commenting these software. And then I went straight to the government. I did Port St. Lucie, pretty easy, right? And I pulled the pre-foreclosure list there. Guess which one I tried all these paid softwares and then I tried the free softwares. Which one do you think had the most trash data? And which one do you think missed out on, I think 15%, if I'm not mistaken, of the pre-foreclosures? Guess which one was mistaken? And guess what that means? You missed out on 50% of potential deals. Guys, I've tested every which one. Trash data. Do not use trash data. This is why I say free data is usually trash data. And if it's free when it's just done for you. Now, why is government lists? It's free. It should be trash. No, because you have to manually pull it for yourself. I'm not cheaping out on a third party and do it, because when you get free data, they go to a third party and they buy it from them. And because they're giving it to you for free, they're going to cheap out on getting the best one. That's how it works. And when you're doing a cold calling list, I want everybody to understand that there's certain softwares out here, and I've said it before, that legit have the most trash skip tracing I've ever seen in my life. The most trash skip tracing I've ever seen in my entire life. Trash. Like, okay? The worst skip tracing I've ever seen. And when you're spending $3,000 on skip tracing, do you think it's worth it to skimp out on an extra 1 to 2 cents? No. Okay? This is why when I do a cold calling list, I do not use True People Search. I love True People Search. It's free, but let's be honest, it's trash compared to Propstream and batch lead and Deal Machine. Like, it is trash. All right? I just want everybody to understand that. So when everyone says, oh, I pulled a list on this, guys, you can use a free software for pulling a list if you have no money. That's great. I'm always going to tell everyone to do that. But when you're purposely not using a Propstream or batch leads to pull, let's say, for an example, a vacant property list with extra filters, you are probably missing out on an extra 20, 30% of your deals. And when you mix that with a trash skip tracing, and why do I say this, guys? I've helped hundreds of thousands of people in wholesaling real estate. And one thing I've always found are the people that pay for a cheap list and then get cheap skip tracing. They always have terrible results. Terrible. I don't know many people that are making over 100K a month using a Fiverr skip tracing list, and they get their list from Fiverr. Why? It's cheap because it's trash. All right. Because they go to the free sources and do it. All right. I see it every single time, and it's always like that. I even had one guy today said, Zach, this software is unlimited. I'm like, it's unlimited? Perfect. I tried out. You have reached your limit for the day, like for the month. Like, what? Guys, a lot of people are lying to you, and it drives me crazy. There's people out here that say you get unlimited list polls for a free software, and then they limit you. Like, it's legit lying to you. That's why a Propstream batch has like 10, I think 20,000 you can pay for more, because they have to pay money to do it. And they don't give you, I mean, they have limits, but you got to pay and then you get extra unlimited. Drives me crazy. Okay. And so what I can tell you guys straight up is comment below whatever software you want. I've tried them all. Even to this day, I've done my research. And as of this video, tell me, I've tried new ones. So when I see a new software come out, guess what I do behind the scenes? I don't tell you guys, but this is what I do. I pull about 10,000 lists and I have my team cold call it, skip trace it, and send a direct mail on it. And we see what happens. I've tried it. Okay. I can tell you there's some ones that are decent that I just still don't use. Like, for example, I have no beef. And I want everyone to understand this. I have no beef or ill will towards Propellia. I think they're a great software. I've used them. I've actually gotten deals from it. I've just found better results with Propstream and Batch when it comes to my skip tracing, when it comes to my list pulling and direct mail. It's honestly what I found. Okay. Now, that being said, if I just still haven't found a software better, because you know why? Batch and Propstream put millions of dollars to make sure that pre-foreclosure list is the best, most accurate part ever. And honestly, there's no limits with Propstream for me. Can I just pay more and I get the limit? When someone tells you it's unlimited free, there's usually a catch to it. And the catch I've seen lately is they say it's unlimited, but you get a limit on it. Number two, I'm going to stop talking about it. Guys, there's only 3 to use: Propstream, Batch Leads, and then Deal Machine. The reason why I say the 3 is because they pour millions of dollars, millions and millions and millions every single year on getting the best software possible and the best data possible. Do not cheap out on your data. And when you cheap out on your data, that's when you get trash results. And if someone's saying, and if you can't pay for those really good softwares, do government lists. They're absolutely for free. Like, just use them. They're a lot more work. But when you cheap out on it, I'm telling you, it's not the best results possible. So sorry for my rant, but I keep getting messages all the time about, should I use this software? This one's really cheap. There's a reason why it's so cheap, because you're paying for bad data for free, right? And then there's always going to be a catch on the end, but I'm just letting you guys know. It's funny. But I always tell everyone, get free wholesaling information, get free, wholesaling info, coaching stuff from us. But like I've said, we'll do the one-on-ones, but like, why do people pay? Like, guys, because I'm not going to do a one-on-one with you every single day, and you're going to call me 24 hours a day. I got my one-on-ones. That's the time I have for it. That's what I do. Okay. I think just a lot of wholesalers out here get this wrong. They see something new and revolutionary, they call it, and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get probably 5 software companies giving their little react video to my little rant I just said, and they're going to all cry about it. Okay. Guys, I've done all of them. Like, for example, like I've used ListSource. I've used, the one that Rick did. We've used Melissa Data for pulling data. And it's actually way cheaper than Propstream and Batch Lead. And we've tried it. We just didn't give us the best result. And when you are on the line, especially when you're running a business like mine, when getting at least 2% worse data is going to lose you 15, 20K, it's that extra $100. Like, no. Okay. So I want everybody to know, when you get your free data, it is not, because when it's free, that person's not putting in revenue. And when they're not getting revenue in, they're not pouring that revenue in to make it actually better. And for example, let's look at Batch Leads and Propstream, and then I'll end my little rant here. Okay. Why are they the 2 best? Why are they kind of, when it comes to pulling a list, why have they kind of deviated from the pack? I'm going to tell you the honest dang truth about software, and no one's going to like this. No one's going to like this little rant, but I'm going to just tell you the dang honest truth about how software really works in wholesaling. This is going to be the stuff that nobody ever says behind closed doors, but you're going to make me say it right now. Oh Lord, here we go. Okay. So how software works. This is number 1, why I don't have a software company. Number 1, wholesalers are the worst people to create software. They are the worst software owners in the world. You might think I'm making shots at people. I am not. I'm just telling you what's the truth. There's a video recently that came out from Alex Hormozi. Look him up. He had a video called Why Software is the Worst Business to Have, or he talked about why creating a software company is the worst one if you're an entrepreneur. Why? Because when you create that software, it's taking everything out of your real estate investing and your wholesaling business and stuff like that. And most entrepreneurs create softwares like a business, and softwares are a business where you have to create it like a software tech guy from Silicon Valley. This is how you make it work. For example, Propstream, a real estate investor guy, he made a new thing he called it Propstream. Okay. And what he basically did was he wanted to make it the best software possible, because this is shocker. When you have the best data, the best software at the cheapest price, everyone wants to do it. But if the data's trash, no one's going to use it. So this is how tech companies work. They use all the revenue and they pour it back into making the data better. They just make it better. That's all they do. An entrepreneur, mostly wholesalers, I've had wholesalers make software companies. What they do is they'll get $1 million in revenue. They'll just keep it for themselves because they're cheap, and they won't make the software better. Terrible customer service. Try calling the customer service lines. You'll get no answer, no support, none of that stuff. Propstream Batch Leads have the best customer service. So that being said, that's how most wholesalers do software. They hoard all the money and they don't reinvest it into it. Guess what happened? Propstream, making millions of dollars, they poured back into the business. So I think Propstream got sold for $200 million from Wall Street Money now has got it. And what Wall Street Money is still doing with it is, if they're making, I'm just guessing because I don't know the real numbers. It's public info now, so I should look at it. But let's say it's sold for a 10 cap, 10% of earnings for Propstream. So if it's sold for $200 million, it was maybe making $20 million in profit. Guess what they did? They probably poured around $20 million into making the software better year over year over year over year to make it better. Guess what? Batch leads, because I talked with Jesse. He's a new dad, so let's give him a congrats on that. Evo. So basically, Annie, Evo, and Jesse batch leads. Evo, Annie, and Jesse, they created it. They were wholesalers. They said, oh shoot, for me to make batch leads the best software, I have to stop wholesaling. They stopped real estate investing in wholesaling. They just focused on software. They didn't do YouTube videos. They didn't do any of that stuff. Okay. And so what they basically did was they poured a lot of their own money into it, and they started making millions of dollars. Guess what they did? They poured pretty much all the revenue into making the best customer service and the best data possible. Now, Propstream, they focused more on the list polling to make it the best. That's where they poured their millions. And really, I mean, I even talked to Jesse the other day, and I try to make sure I get the best data when I bring it to you. They poured not most of it, but a lot of that revenue into skip tracing, making it the best skip tracing possible. And they use, I think, 3 or 4, I could get that wrong, different sources for the skip tracing, and they've poured their millions. They've probably poured the most out of anyone into skip tracing. And they reinvest pretty much, not all of it, but most of their profits into that business. And now they're in an arms race. Who's going to get the best list polling, best skip tracing? And they just keep pouring money back into it and make it better. Now, when you are like this, and then you have the free guy, and the free guy's just pocketing all the money, that's why most softwares from entrepreneurs and wholesaling are trash, because they don't reinvest it. They want to keep all the money, and they're super cheap. Okay. They don't like paying taxes. They don't like doing they hate that stuff, and they just keep it low like this. And this is why most software companies, I've had software companies like 5 years ago, trash, because they would literally spend 4 cents on skip tracing. They refused to spend the 10 cents for the best data because they wanted to pocket the most money. And guess what happens when you cheap out? You stay here. And when you're given like stuff for free, like True People Search, they're not going to reinvest it into getting the best possible new stuff. And it just keeps growing. This is why you have to, if you're going to use it, you got to use the top people, because they're pouring the millions into it to make you the most money. So that's why I say, I'm just telling everyone the honest truth. If you want to make money in wholesaling real estate, and if you are paying for a list, and if any of you are paying for a list, and what I mean by paying for a list, you could use a free software pulling service. I don't care. There's probate websites out here that will pull the probates for you for free. It's not it. When I say pay for a list, I mean you have a list of 1,000 and you drop, let's say $200-300 on skip trace, on SMS text blasting. That's paying for a list too. When you are dropping $400-500, even $1,000 of your hard-earned money into a list, do you really want to cheap out there? Because if that skip tracing is really good, but it's trash data, the whole list is going to suck. You just wasted $1,000. Waste $1,000. So if you're pulling a list from a terrible service and you skip trace it with the best skip tracing, it's still stupid. All right. It's like multiplying 0. 500 times 0 equals 0. 1 times 0 equals 0. So if it's such trash, it's never going to work. Okay. And this is what I can tell everybody. Do not get a trash data service. It will ruin your business. That is the fastest way to do it. I'm just telling you guys, I've seen so many wholesalers do trash skip tracing and then trash lists because it's cheaper or free or whatever it's called. And then they get terrible results. Oh, what did we get? Government lists and driving for $1. Okay. So if you can't afford to pay for Propstream or Batch or a deal machine, drive for $1 yourself, pull a government list and cold call it. This is why if my VA's only cold called, so let's say I can pull probably 2 or 3 deals out of a high equity list if I use it for a certain city. And that's me paying for batch lead skip tracing, right? I might pull it on Propstream, skip tracing on Batch. I might pull 2 to 3 deals. If I use True People Search, I'd probably pull 1 deal or maybe a deal every month because the skip tracing is that bad. It's still, you can pull deals out of it. That's why I tell beginners you can still do it. But just remember that when you're cheaping out on things, you're going to destroy your results. And that's 40-50K in revenue I'm just throwing off the bat every single month if I use trash services. Think about what you guys do in your business. It's not worth it. So that's what I'm telling you. Rant over. Everyone's going to be crying to me and, no, but this one. Guys, you're only rooting for it because you think it's going to save you money. But really what you're doing is you're paying for your success for the free software. That's what it is. All right. So I want you guys to know this. Skip trace on truepeoplesearch.com and then do a batch leads and see the difference and see which one's worth your time and worth your money. So the skip tracing, the list pulling might be free, but guess how much it costs? It costs you doing deals. So you're really paying for the free list pulling by paying for future deals that you lost. And most likely I'm going to probably scoop that up myself. So there's guys out here. I knew one other person, they offered free, they had a paid list service and they offered free skip tracing. And guess what happened when that service offered free skip tracing? From what people have told me, it was such trash skip tracing that the person had to pull it. And this was like, I think a couple years ago, they had to pull it. You know why? Because when you get free skip tracing, it's trash skip tracing because they're not, guys, to get good skip tracing, it costs 7 to 8 cents because I've actually had to pay TLO, all the credit bureau companies for this data myself. They had to go to my office and verify I was a legit business. And I was the only, because it was sensitive information. So I know how much good data costs. And if I'm spending a lot of money on data, I'm going to have to charge you guys for it. And that's why I don't run a software company, because I won't be able to do YouTube. Because I'd have to focus 60, 70 hours a week on just the software. software. And when you're not doing that, it's going to be trash data when you're not overlooking it. So I'm telling you guys, the top entrepreneurs when it comes to software and real estate and anything in general, they put 70, 80, 90 hours a week into that software of managing it and being the CEO. When you're a wholesaler, you do coaching and you do, I do coaching. So like if I do these one-on-one coaching calls on YouTube and I try to run a wholesale business and flip properties and I won't be able to do it. I'd just be focused on the software. Now, if I made a software company, I'd probably have to pour probably $4 million into it and then compete with those guys. It's just not worth it for me. All right. Like why am I going to do that? So guys, that's my rant. That's why I don't have a software company. And the reason is because it's not worth my time. I don't want to work that hard. And if you don't work that hard, you're not going to become one of the best. So ask the founders of all these software companies that are successful how much they put into it. They put a lot more than money. They put their time, sweat, and tears into it. So I'm getting in trouble for saying that, but you know what? Who cares? Guys, that's just my opinion. I'm not a lawyer, financial advisor, any of these things. Use whatever you want. Try it out yourself. Use your own independent data. But if you're going to drop $1,000 in skip tracing, if you use trash list pulling services, you will go out here and fail.